Minds. Your Honor, today I will be tendering to the court a motion to dismiss all the charges against Mr. Scott Scheffler. But if it pleases the court, I would like to offer a brief explanation on the record, please.
Of course.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm here today representing the Commonwealth because I recognize the importance of this case to our community. While I've worked closely with my great team, I want to make clear that the decisions throughout this process were ultimately mine. The events that led us here today began with a tragedy, and as most people know, of course, just after 5 a.m. on May 17th in a steady rainstorm, Mr. John Mills was struck and killed by a shuttle bus out at the location where these matters took place. I have a copy of Mr. Mills' obituary and a very good photo of him that matches what is said in the obituary from his family and others that pay tribute to him. Mr. Mills leaves behind a wife, 4 children, a team of grandchildren, and my hope is that there will be more attention soon paid to Mr. Mills and his well-lived life. Mr. Mills' family has designated the Bluegrass Center for Autism for anyone wanting to make a donation in his memory. The death of John Mills is not a part of this case before you, as you know, Your Honor, but this terrible incident set in motion a confusing and chaotic scene at Gate 1 of the Valhalla Golf Course. Because of this tragedy, Detective Brian Gillis, along with other members of LMPD, were rerouted from their assigned duties to secure an active investigation scene. A significant amount of traffic had already built up when Detective Gillis arrived and began coordinating the authorized flow of traffic into Gate 1. Mr. Scheffler was not informed of the fatality and was driving to the course prior to the playing in the second round of the PGA Championship. Prior to Mr. Scheffler's arrival, several authorized PGA vehicles were properly allowed to enter Valhalla through Gate 1. A bus, clearly seen on the videos, was attempting to turn around or turn into the same entrance, and the LMPD correctly stopped that bus and instructed it to turn around. Detective Gillis stopped vehicles entering Valhalla while the bus attempted to complete this maneuver. Mr. Scheffler's was one among the first vehicles to reach the point at which Detective Gillis was stopping cars. The interaction that followed between Detective Gillis and Mr. Scheffler resulted in LMPD filing 4 charges. My team and I began reviewing evidence as it came to us following the events of May 17th. We continued to receive and to review evidence throughout that weekend and late into the following week. We completed our final interviews with police and lay witnesses after the close of business on Friday, May 24th. We continued to work through the long Memorial Day weekend and have brought this matter before the court at the earliest opportunity following our complete review. My office conducted our work in a thorough and expeditious manner. As a backdrop to what the work that our office does, what every prosecutor's office has to do when reviewing matters, are the Kentucky Rules of Professional Conduct, which obviously are the rules of, quote, ethics the Supreme Court has adopted with respect to guidelines, etc., and prohibitions on things for lawyers as they practice. Section 3.8 in those rules is actually styled special responsibilities of a prosecutor. And the court may be familiar with that from another time. But it says in there, in the commentary, the very first sentence, a prosecutor has the responsibility of a minister of justice and not simply that of an advocate. It further goes on to explain that the very first responsibility of a prosecutor under Rules 3.8 of the Kentucky Supreme Court rules requires that prosecutors, and I quote, refrain from prosecuting a charge that the prosecutor knows is not supported by probable cause. Therefore, based upon the totality of the evidence, my office cannot move forward in the prosecution of the charges filed against Mr. Scheffler. Mr. Scheffler's characterization that this was, quote, a big misunderstanding, close quote, is corroborated by the evidence. The evidence we reviewed supports the conclusion that Detective Gillis was concerned for public safety at the scene when he initiated contact with Mr. Scheffler. However, Mr. Scheffler's actions and the evidence surrounding their exchange during this misunderstanding do not satisfy the elements of any criminal offenses. For these reasons, Judge, I now tender to the court a motion and order to dismiss all these charges in this case against Mr. Scheffler with prejudice. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. O'Connell. Mr. Romano?
Judge, it's taken me a long time to understand that when I'm winning, don't talk. So I have nothing to say, Your Honor. We accept it. We have no objection to the county's motion.
Fantastic. So ordered. So at this date, I will dismiss the matter, and it will be ripe for expungement within 60 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Might be excused, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I be
everyone.
excused like he's excused?
Yes, of course. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor.